Today, we have a friend in the house. Actually, we're not really like, I feel like I'm, like, parasocially friends with Suki Waterhouse. However, we're not really friends. Like, have we ever gone to dinner? No. Have we ever hung out? No. In fact, the only time we've actually met is at the Met Gala. I interviewed her at the Met Gala for, like, 3 minutes. What was funny about that interview was right before I did that interview, the producer for the Met Gala interviews was like, "Hey, just so you know, Suki is on tour right now. You might want to bring that up." So in the interview, I bring that up. I'm like, "So you're on tour right now?" And she's like, "Actually, I'm not." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was just so awkward. But today, this interview is going to be a lot more organized, and I will not be asking her about a tour that she is not on. But I'm excited to be speaking to Suki Waterhouse today. She started out her career as a model when she was a young teenager. Then she eventually started acting, and then she eventually put out music. She is a multi hyphenate. You may have seen her on the cover of Vogue magazine or Elle, or you may have seen her acting as Karen in Daisy Jones and the Six, or you may have heard her music live at Coachella or blowing up on TikTok. She is a new mother. She just had a baby a few months ago, and she's sort of a mother of a new creative project coming out September 13th. Her new album, Memoir of a Sparklemuffin. One of the most interesting album names I've heard all year. Anyway, I'm so excited to speak to Suki. For some reason, I feel like we're friends even though we're not. So that's super awkward. But maybe after today's interview, we will become friends. So I present to you Suki Waterhouse. Let's get her into the house. I'm so curious about your unique relationship to each part of your career. It's very rare that somebody has such experience in 3 different categories. Like, I feel like you've kind of done it all in a way. What's your relationship to modeling, acting, and singing? Like, what's your unique and brutally honest relationship
I
with
think,
each?
yeah. Yeah. You said like doing each three in different worlds. I do sometimes think about that. I'm like, oh, it's quite strange that I kind of know what it was like to really be in fashion. Like, not so much
Mhm.
anymore, but I definitely like had all that experience and like did it from 15.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I guess like I started modeling when it was like, A to Z's. There was like no, nothing like that, and it would literally be like clambering around London, going to places that I'd never even like been before, like taking the bus, doing like 30 castings a day, having people say the most like insane shit to you. Like, it was very blunt, um and it was also just like this complete avenue out of the house. Like, I kind of lived not in the suburbs, but like a little bit out of London. So leaving the house for the first time, like being out for the first time, like meeting people, being at parties and being around creatives, and it was like this whole thing. But yeah, having a little bit of all three, it's kind of like an amazing, like, fortunate thing that I've kind of get to do.
Yeah, like, you get to sort of do a little bit of everything in, like, such a broad industry. Like, you've gotten to do so many things, and I'm curious, like, out of everything you've done, what has been the most fulfilling for you emotionally?
I mean, fulfilling for me emotionally, it's kind of that's an easy one. It has to be music.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, music, I've been writing, and I've actually been putting out music for such a long time. Like, there was
Yes.
like a whole decade of writing and putting out music, and like so much kind of just like exploration that happened a long time before like that many people even knew it. But I don't know, I was like so happy just having DistroKid and putting up songs that I thought were cool, and I would like put out a couple a year. And because I never really actually thought that I would ever get to like be playing shows or like
Yeah.
doing any of the stuff that I've been doing. Like it just didn't even like occur to me. So I feel like music was maybe the first thing that I thought I was going to be able to do and like kept doing while everything else happened. And then when like modeling happened, and acting happened, I was kind of plagued with this like hole in my heart for like years because I don't know, I felt like, oh, it just won't be, it won't be allowed, it won't be accepted. Like, girl, you've
Mhm.
already done like modeling and acting, like you cannot add another one. Like,
Yes.
no, it's like too much. And it was like super scary to me, and you just think, oh, like it won't happen. So it was like very gradual in a lot of ways. But when I did decide to like put out a record, I think it was like something to do with the show actually, like doing Daisy
Mhm.
Jones.
Mhm.
Like I really wanted to get that part, and I think I really wanted to like play someone that like was super confident about it and like was gonna go for it,
Yep.
and that character that I played, Karen Serko, and then I knew that I would be like in a music studio for like months on end, and we'd be
Mhm.
rehearsing, and I'd be around all these incredible producers and Blake Mills that they were
Mhm.
the hiring, so I knew I'd be like in that space. And then actually the show didn't end up happening for like a whole year after because of COVID and everything. So in that space in between, there was like something in the ether that kind of just, maybe it was like the world feeling like it was like, kind of like fell apart. And
Yeah.
there was just that thing where you just suddenly go like,
Who cares? What do I have to
who
lose?
cares? Yeah, what
Totally.
am I going to lose?
Yeah.
And so I very quickly decided I'm going to put together an album. But I had like so many songs, like I was ready,
Yeah.
and I'd done so much work and so many sessions, and there was so many like shit songs that I'd written and things that, so many avenues, that things that hadn't worked out, or like blocks and overcoming things in my brain like that had been happening for like a decade. So in lots of ways, like I had like such low expectations,
Mhm.
you know?
Of
I had like
course.
such low expectations of anything, and I kind of, yeah, made the album by myself, and I just kind of went like, you don't need to wait for like a label or a thing or anything like that. You
Totally.
just make it. And then those things kind of like happened after
Mhm.
I made the record. So yeah, in terms of like fulfilling emotionally, that's like, yeah, music is like a lifeline. Like the next album's called Memoir of a Sparkle Muffin, which is like a ridiculous title,
Obsessed
but
with the name and need to know more about it, like, immediately. Continue.
but it's kind of, yeah, the first record was called I Can't Let Go, and I think that was like, you can tell even by the title, it was kind of like I was very like trapped in my own like psyche and
Yep.
neurosis, and I felt like, it was like, yeah, I kind of felt like that, almost like a cloud around me. And then this one's called Memoir of a Sparkle Muffin, where I feel like, yeah, I can't let go. And this one, I'm like, oh, I've let go of so much, and I'm like
Yes.
so much freer, and I like feel like I can like own my narrative so much more, and like feel
Yes.
proud of it, and not just like kind of embarrassed, you know?
Are you the sparkle muffin?
Yes, I am the Sparkle Muffin. Yeah.
Does anyone, like, is that a nickname that you have, or, like, or is that just something that, like, came to you? Like, tell me about this name.
It's the Sparkle Muffin is this like rare Australian spider that I found just like scrolling on Google like late at night one night. It's it's
Oh.
it's only just been, it's like was discovered in like 2016, which I don't know how no one has like found this guy before. He's like crazy, and he has like a sparkly little butt, and he does
Stop.
like this little dance. Like he does like a kind of mating dance, and if the mate doesn't like the dance, then that it will like eat the other spider. So
Love.
I kind of, it was like a metaphor for like, dancing for your life and being in
Yes.
like the public or whatever like that.
I love that.
Yeah, but it's just cute, and I also just really wanted to like declare everything to be like that spark. I wanted to be like on Zoom calls and be like, that sparkle muffin, that's not like what.
I love that.
Yeah, what can be just like having a kind of, and then like the memoir of the sparkle muffin. I don't know. I love like, I just like obsessed with people's memoirs. Like I read them all the time, and
Yeah.
actually like I feel like it kind of came from. Did you see that Jane Fonda documentary where it was like the eras of her life,
I've
like.
not actually watched it.
Oh, it's so emotional. And that's kind of,
Really?
yeah, she kind of like cuts it up into the, like, the years and the different
Mhm.
things and the guys that came in and the things were happening in her career. And like, yeah, you get to kind of like have this full scope of her entire life. But yeah, I love like reading memoirs and stuff. So it was Memoir of a Sparkle Muffin.
So do you feel like the album is sort of the story of your life, or do you feel like it's more like, is it more like the story of the last year? Like, what do you think? Do you feel like this album is sort of telling like a specific story? Did you go into it like I want to tell a story with it, or is it more just like all the music I create in one way or another is sort of a mini little memoir about me? Like what is sort of, I don't know, the vision?
I guess you pull out of like everything that you're still like paying attention to that still feels like very much in your orbit like at the
Mhm.
time. But yeah, I wouldn't have written that album for the last one because it's so much about like where you are, like what kind of space you're in. So yeah, I always pull on things from the past because I feel like, you're just like a memory box of everything that's ever happened to you, right? And like there's a sense of like, yeah, what's important to me now. But yeah, I guess this one, it's like a metamorphosis kind of thing
Mm.
of like going from like the back cover is kind of like has this red light on it and it feels like almost like this red sinful light and I have this like kind of diamond cage choker on me and like
Mhm.
and then and it's sort of like yeah, it's self-destructive. It's like the glamour. It's like all the things that like when you make your life is like kind of difficult. And then
Mhm.
the front cover was like was almost picturing this like Mulholland Drive. Like it's after I've
Mhm.
had like a Hollywood car crash and I've like come down and I'm in this like oasis where like things like I don't know, it was almost like this message to myself of like things don't have to be all so difficult and like the way that I want to live is like can be much more like fruitful, like filled with like good relationships
Yes.
and like yeah,
Like, you don't
love
need
and
to be a
wonderful
tortured
things.
artist or,
Kind
like,
of, yeah.
yeah,
Like the
like,
best way. I'm kind of finding that at the moment actually. Like yeah, I think that's something I think about a lot. Like do I
yeah.
need to have like a super like tortured horrendous like existence to make art?
There is that, like, temptation to be, I don't know, like, to sort of be this, wearing the all black and, like, being sad and, like, crying and, like, I don't know, but and that's what creates good art or, um, art that speaks to that mentality is good art, but I think some of the most interesting and most impressive art is that actually pulls from a place of strength,
hmm
you know?
Yeah,
It's interesting.
yeah, I kind of feel like what we kind of do and everything is so it is like there's a ton of like difficult things that come with
Yeah.
it. So I guess like hopefully like my life doesn't have to be as crazy because like things are outside are already crazy. So I feel like I want to have like a hub of strength and like go home to like something that feels like an oasis,
Yes.
where you can like recharge. And I think incredible things, like, especially with this album, it's the strength of like the relationships and like the
Mhm.
people that you have around you and like how talented everyone is. Because like I love more than anything, especially with music and in film, like bringing other people up with you and along with you
Yes.
is like the best thing ever.
Absolutely.
Don't you love
I
that?
love that.
I bet you have
Absolutely.
like with your company and like everything that you do
Yes.
where you're like, you're amazing. And
Yes.
like, I want you to like thrive and grow. And like, I don't know, especially with like younger people around me as well. Like
Yes.
I'm always just like, don't you, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
I want to like, yeah, have like, I think that's like an awesome thing. Like we spend so much time working.
Yeah.
So you want like that working environment to be like as cool as possible for
Of
yourself and
course.
for everyone else. Yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. How do you think, I mean, congratulations on being a
Oh,
mom.
thank you.
So amazing, but also like
It's so crazy.
it's so, well, I think too, we are in a really being in entertainment in general, I think the transition to motherhood is a lot more challenging.
I just can't believe that, like, because she's only like 5.5 months old,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of just like, oh, I can't believe this has been only 5.5 months since this has happened. But it is kind of one of those things. I think it's like it is quite. You're really surprised at
Yeah.
first, and you're like, like, what is? But then there is like this element of like they come, and suddenly you're just like, oh, like there you are,
Yeah.
like of course.
Like it's almost like they were always there.
Yeah. Like, I
That's
don't even
magical.
remember yeah, you're just like, "Oh," like, here you are, and you're just like you instantly are like, you're just, like, a part of the crew.
I've always wondered that because I just, to me, it would feel, I think, I mean, it's probably an impossible to describe sort of
But you just
feeling.
don't even know. And like everything that you weirdly think about, all the like scenarios that you
Yeah,
go through, the whole time I'm pregnant, I'm just like thinking about it
of course.
constantly and talking about it and what's it going to be like and it's going to be like this and like
Yeah,
that. And you just like, you can't even, you just don't even know anything. You
yeah,
literally don't know anything. And also you don't know anything because you have no idea like what kind of baby you're going to get. You
totally.
literally, it's just one of those things where you're like, I have no idea what's going to happen. And then
Yeah,
everything's just like a surprise. And I feel like that's like the coolest thing ever because I feel like now I'm just in this thing where this thing, like, it's just a constant surprise. Like I have
yeah,
no, I'm like always just like, it's like a mystery movie, like a
yes.
mystery novel. And you just think like, oh my God, like what, where we're at now, what are we going to be in 5 years? And
Yeah,
like, who's going to be in her life? And I don't know. It's like it really like fills you with like a lot of wonder and a lot of joy.
yeah,
So yeah, I feel there's just like this joy beam. So it's like this joy
yes.
beam. She's just like a complete joy beam. And
Do you think, like, I imagine I sort of have a hypothesis, right,
uh-huh.
about like the impact that having a child would have, and I think I don't know, uh, being in the public eye is really challenging and uncomfortable because and it can feel like at all times like the world is crashing around you. Like it's very easy to lose perspective. I could imagine that having a child would really help to combat that. Is that
Yeah.
hypothesis
Well, I
at
really
any
no
is
that
it accurate?
yeah, no, I kind of think that's true actually. Like there's so many cool things like even in the last like couple of months of having her, it's like I like take her on her morning walk or whatever and we
Mhm.
like get up early and she gets up early and we yeah, I never used to get up early, but now I get up early.
I love that.
But yeah, but you go and actually I've become like so much more like in like I've become so much more of like a community person with even like the people that live around my streets and
Yeah,
everything because like now it's like instantly you're like hey
of
and you like
course.
talk and you have kids and like
Yes.
you go on a walk and now she's been like invited to like a little swimming party on Friday and I'm like so excited she's getting her little outfit
Cute.
but it's just so yeah so that's actually really nice like I feel even things like that and suddenly like your Sunday is like going to like someone's house with like a bunch and everyone just has their own like little ticking bomb which is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
cute
yeah.
but it's like fun it's like a new sort of like way of like hanging out with people
Yes.
and you just like yeah I feel like a lot I feel actually more grounded to the earth and in terms of just like like living where you actually live and
Yeah.
sometimes do you ever feel like that especially here where you're just it can be like kind of tough to actually like feel like you live somewhere and that you're part
Yes.
of something and I think having a kid actually kind of like is quite helpful with that.
Yes. I mean, it completely makes sense because they're not I don't know, you have to be really present with
Yes.
a child. That's the only
So
so
present.
present.
It's
I think it
insane.
grounds you. No, it probably too present,
It's
but
crazy.
I think it does ground you. And that's
Yeah.
something that I think is a sort of, I don't know, silver lining through all the challenges because it's obviously
It's the best thing.
challenging. It's like,
Yeah.
but it is so grounding and it's a life-changing,
Yeah,
beautiful.
and it's also really nice to be demanded of that presence, you
Yeah.
know? It is actually. It's like it's kind of an amazing thing to be like, oh, like, yeah, you kind of like time just passes by, you're not like looking at your phone. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you're not able to just kind of you have to yeah, you have to like you have to be quite like mindful with like how how you spend the time and then
Yeah.
and when it's like home time. Yeah, it's definitely made me like more of it's made me more of like a morning person of like we get up really early and then I'm kind of like I want everything to be done by 6 so
Yeah.
like we can do that like wind down together and also I kind of like quite enjoy the night stuff sometimes in a
Mhm.
way I know that sounds not if it's too intense and just waking up a lot but
Yep.
there's something about like because you really like aren't thinking about anything else in the middle of the night and
Yep.
you kind of you can just like bring her into your bed and you're just like playing for an hour and so it's
Oh.
very like sweet there's something about that like nothing else is happening and there's just like quiet and I found like those moments actually quite like quite cute
That's
yeah
amazing
yeah
and
it's really
rare.
yeah. No, not all the time. Obviously,
Sometimes
sometimes
it
you're like, yeah,
sucks.
yeah, yeah. So if it's like too much,
You're like, "If she's listening to this,
yeah,
don't get any
yeah,
ideas,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Sleep through the night."
yeah, exactly.
When it comes to raising a child with your job, like, what's sort of your plan? Like, are you like,
Yeah.
I want to shelter my child from this for as long as possible?
Yeah.
Where's your head at with that? I'm curious.
Um, yeah, yeah, there's that thing. I don't know. I think it's gonna get harder and harder. It's like obviously I would like really like to not have her face shown or anything like that. That
Mhm.
would be like my ideal. But I also think that I have to be kind of a realist about like the
Absolutely.
kind of world that we live in. And now she's like almost 6 months. She doesn't like she wants to look at like flowers and touch things and like be out in the world and like yeah, and like that's been a little bit more intense like since I had the baby. There's like people outside and like they and you can't, it's this thing I don't want to it's that thing where it's like I want to shield her from that, but I also want to take her for a walk and like and sit
You have
at
to
a
live your
cafe
life.
and like take her out
Yeah,
and like someone might like they probably are going to take a picture and they probably are going to show her face and you don't actually get like there are laws but they go around them and it will end so you kind of have to be I think
yep,
it's like I have yeah, you have to be kind of a realist and not be like also not like be like devastated and wind yourself up so much
yeah,
because we live in like the most insane world where like it's pretty difficult to if you want to just even if she's gonna like have a life where I bring her out and that's what I care about
yep,
more, I care more about like me being peaceful and being able to like show her the world than like
totally.
hiding her inside and stuff like that. It's like that I wanted to have like a cool life. So yeah.
I think that's, I mean, it's important to not overprotect, I think, because I think yourself and your child and your loved one in general, like, I think overprotecting in some ways can cause even more damage, and it's about probably finding your perfect, I mean,
Yeah.
nothing's perfect,
No, nothing's perfect
but
and
your
you just can't
most
like
comfortable homeostasis of it
yeah.
all, you know?
Yeah, you just like there's so much that there's a lot that you can't control, but yeah, I guess my plan is like to just bring her like she's coming on a tour bus and
Wait, tell
yeah.
me everything about that.
I don't even know. I was just all I know is that like yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. She's gonna come
It's
on
gonna
the
be fun.
yeah, and I guess like I've planned it slightly differently, so I'm not like on the road for like months at a time. We're
Yeah.
gonna do a couple of weeks, come back, and then do a couple of weeks again. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I guess yeah, it's different in that I have to have her like with me. I can't like she's she just needs to
You
be.
Yeah, I mean, or do you feel like,
It will
do
be
you get a little
insane. Like who
separation anxiety when you're away from her?
I just don't wanna be away for yeah, I just don't and I think that's, like, a really important thing. So,
Yeah.
like, my life obviously is gonna, like, is changing. It's not there's not so much of, maybe I could do, like, a couple of days at a time, but I don't wanna be I just yeah, it's
Well,
just
you can't probably work in the same,
you
like,
can't quite work in the same way, I don't
yeah, because
think. Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
it was like you were the only one, you were sort of the one creating your boundaries just based on emotionally how you were doing, I
Yeah, well, there
imagine.
were no
But
boundaries.
there
Yeah.
aren't,
There
I
are
can
no
imagine there
boundaries.
were, I mean,
Yeah.
you'd be like on tour and then, doing a show,
Yeah,
everywhere.
exactly.
Whereas now I think it's probably like,
It's different.
you're kind of forced to slow down, which I
Yeah.
think is probably a beautiful thing.
You're forced to slow down a bit and then like I think obviously like family is super important like that makes you feel so much better if you have to go away for like 2 days or
Yeah,
something like you want family to be there and like and we've got really great family as well and like
it's amazing.
so that's and like it just makes your parents so happy. It
Totally.
really does. It's like that's actually such a sweet part of it. Like it's made me like feel very connected to both of our families in like in a really sweet way and
It's
it's just
amazing.
so amazing like yeah like seeing them light up and everything but yeah the plan yeah I don't know the plan is like you can't plan, Emma. I know you hate this because I can tell you're such a planner
No,
but
I am. Wait, that's so funny that you noticed
no
that
you're
about me.
like what's the plan I know
No, but
but
I
you
think
can't you just have no idea what's going to happen you kind of just have to make it up as you go.
totally.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring to see, because I think that there's a lot of, especially like, I don't know, I think a lot of people fear starting a family and what that does to their career, what that does to
Yeah.
their, to their identity, etc. And so
Yeah.
I'm
But it
always
is, I get, yeah, and but also I guess I'm also speaking from like a privileged place where I can have support and like I can have family.
totally,
That's like important to note. Where
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like yeah. I mean, it's an all-encompassing thing. There's definitely like sacrifices, but there's some. I think I was like, ready to be able. It's almost like a great excuse for people that like when you like kind of wanna, you don't maybe wanna run around the world like quite as
Yes.
much. You
You're
can just
like,
be like, I
I'm a
can't.
I
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
You have the
So
most valid, perfect excuse.
yeah,
You can probably get out of any plans you want right now.
exactly.
You're like, I cannot go to dinner this
But
week.
I feel like you were quite like that.
I would
You know what I mean?
love
Like
that.
you can kind
Yeah.
of like bring it in a little bit, and like obviously you can still go out and do stuff, but it like kind of yeah, maybe you'd like to run around the world a little less, or maybe you'd like to,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like just about at the moment where I can go, okay, I'm like grown up enough, you know?
Yeah.
I've like
That's also interesting. Like I feel like, did you have a moment where you're like, okay, I think I think I'm a grown up now. I think I'm ready to be a mom. I feel like
like
that never comes
it
for
doesn't really
anyone.
count,
I feel
no.
like it's a myth.
Yeah, but you kind of just go like, no, I kind of was just like, yeah, not grown up enough, but I was like, I think that I could like figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then you're just like, oh, I'm gonna just do it, and you just see, yeah, and then you're
And
just
then
like,
you
oh,
rise to the
you just
occasion and
rise to
everything's
the
fine.
occasion. Yeah, exactly. And there's just
Totally.
like so much. Yeah, there's just like you're constantly learning.
What kind of music are you gonna play around the house? Or what music are you playing around the house for
Ooh,
baby? Like, I feel
for
like that's
baby.
so, like, I feel like I still have such a I'm I feel formed from the music that my parents
That your
played,
parents played.
and I
Yeah.
bet you do as well.
We do like disco. I'd play her like Fleetwood Mac. Like some of it will actually make her like a little emotional if it's too kind of
Oh,
like some she's like
that's
it actually really
cute.
affects them. Like but yeah,
Yes.
she likes like upbeat. She now likes like dancing in your arms and stuff. And then yeah, in the mornings I like do a little yeah, I don't know, I'm like being silly, but I like play her like baby Mozart and stuff because I'm like
Cute.
this is gonna like make different like neurons in her brain connect and like
My parents
I'm
tried to
trying
do
to just
that
make
for
her
me.
smart, yeah.
Great.
And
Honestly,
like play her the piano as well and have her like look at that and stuff.
that's
But yeah,
amazing.
all kinds.
What did you listen to when you were a baby?
I remember my mum played, and she said she played it in the womb as well, like Layla by Eric Clapton.
Ah,
And that song I always feel like very connected to.
yes.
I want to be better at it actually, because my parents like, well, actually Tracy Chapman, I remember listening to
Yeah.
him, but I was one of four and it was kind of, yeah, it was, I think when it's just you, but then when there's like four of you, it's just like, I don't know. I think my mom was like, please don't play any music.
Yeah.
I just want quiet. I can't deal with
Kind of
it.
like probably a fun household,
Yeah, it
kind
was
of
a
a
fun
party,
whole, yeah, it was mental.
you know?
It was really
That's
crazy.
a
There
lot
was
of
like
kids.
there was a lot of kids. Yeah, there was two of us, and then my mom had twins a bit later on, and that kind of just like threw everything completely just wild.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Do you
Yeah.
wanna have do you wanna mimic that?
Oh my God, I
No.
don't think so.
Yeah.
Four is crazy. Well, it was like twins, so twins, and it was like a big surprise. And we were
Yeah.
actually already like 6 and 8 or something.
Mhm.
So I think they felt like, oh, it's kind of done. And then there were like two more.
Surprise!
Yeah, but that was like very fun for I loved it. Like I actually love having four of us. It's complicated. It's complex.
Yeah,
Having everyone in one room is quite complicated. There are so many different dynamics between the siblings and with the
totally.
parents. Like if you put two of us and the parents together, if it will be completely different. I think when we all come together, it's actually quite difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean, of
like
course.
there's a lot of yeah,
A lot of personalities
there's a
going
lot of
on.
personalities. Yeah, it was chaotic and kind of like beautifully chaotic and yeah, mad, but there's so much beauty in having a lot of you. But
Yeah.
yeah, oldest one, I got to kind of I did kind of get to watch them really grow up as well. Like I remember being told that they were coming and like having the scan on the wall and
Yeah.
carrying them around and feeding them and like everything like that. Like I feel like I got to like really like watch them grow up, which was like very special.
For your other baby, the
Yeah.
album,
Yes.
tell me about your favorite track. Like, what's your favorite track? Why? Is it one that's already out? Is it one that's not out yet?
Favorite tracks. I think the ones that are already out, oh my God, I really like doing I like
Mhm.
love doing that one live. It's such a like upbeat kind of yeah, I think like yeah, I mean yeah, I literally went from doing things like my first album was like so like everything was quite sad and dreary and like and and now yeah, now I just kind of like have been so much kind of like freer in what I could do. So I love, oh my God, I love my fun. I went to Devon in England and did like a kind of 2 weeks sequester. We were in like the middle of nowhere. We had no car. We really just like completely isolated. Um, and it feels like very like hippie, free, kind of like
Yes.
free loving. It was like very like, yeah, the like the environment around us. Like we found like a bag of recorders. You remember like you used to do like recorder in
Yes.
school, and like thought it was like you just go like crazy and you like
Yes.
think that this is like the funnest thing ever. And we like we have like I'm tooting these random recorder parts all over the song, and that one, and I like thought I would take that out, and then it ended up we ended up
Yeah, but
just like
that's the
keeping it.
best. I love
That's
that.
the best.
Yes.
So like that one always makes me like really smile. It's like very very joyful and upbeat, that song. So yeah, oh my God, what else have we put out so far? I just put out Super Sad, and
Mhm.
then the next one, I have this song, I think yeah, one of my favorite ones is the song called Model Actress Whatever,
Mhm.
which is like which is my anthem. But
Love.
that one I just shot this video for, which like it's like it's like completely different from anything I've ever done. Like I'm really,
Oh.
it feels so good to be like so genuinely excited for people to see it. Like, when you just
Yes.
like everyone on it just went above and beyond and like worked so hard, and there was such amazing energy. And it's like, yeah, like that, it's like taking the piss out of myself.
Yes.
In like, there's like a script thing in it, and it's really taking the piss out of myself. And sort of like in like a very like empowering way.
There's nothing more fun than that.
Right? It's
It's
fun.
so much fun.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't know, like no one can, you don't fear judgment, I think, as much when you're making the joke about yourself first. It's
Exactly.
like the only time that you can put something out and be like, you can't say shit. I already said it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
exactly.
it's the safe zone.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's brought me like so much enjoyment because like just the song by itself, I was like, oh, I don't know if like I went through a lot of that of being like, oh, because it's gonna be like, everyone will just, that will be like your title, that will be like, so you were as it's like, do you want to bring that on yourself? You've already been trying to like not be
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
But I had this like inclination to write this song, because I'd like read, it was kind of came from a bunch of different places. Like I've been reading, I kind of had been like, I've been reading this like little zine thing,
Mhm.
with this woman called Jennifer Blowdry, who's like a very niche socialite that no one's ever heard of. But she was
Mhm.
kind of like talking about like the kind of arc of women in this industry, where you're like kind of, you're an ingenue and you're built up, and then there's like catastrophe and you fall down. I was like
Yes.
very drawn to kind of those, yeah, like the Jane Fonda. And there's a book called After Andy that is about it's a memoir of this woman that worked for Andy Warhol, and kind of like the aftermath of his death. And there's a Liz Phair book that I was reading
Mhm.
a lot called Horror Stories, which is amazing. It's just like her speaking so honestly about her life, and all like, things that she's done that like like affairs and things, just like,
Mhm.
so I love like knowing about people's life like that. So
Me too.
yeah, it's the best.
It's just
It's what we want.
it's
Like
what
I
we
want, there's
all
nothing
want.
better. I love like a Wikipedia page. Like I love
Same.
like, you can discover so much, like who is with
Yes.
who and like everything like that. So, but yeah, so I think that song I was like hesitant about, and almost like, yeah, there was a kind of, I guess like while they've been putting the album together, there was almost like a voice being like, don't, like, you've been trying, that it will be annoying. You're trying to get away from that. And then I don't know, something switched. And especially then I started like conceiving this video, and I'm like, oh, absolutely hell yes. Like
Yes.
we're not making this like a woe is me, like, oh God, like
Yes.
that is not what we're doing. Like we're
Yes.
making this really, really fucking fun.
That's what honestly, I feel like it's all about having fun.
Yeah, I agree with you actually. I think sometimes I've thought that it can't always be like that.
Yeah.
Or if you're like, oh, if you're working, then it has to be like
It
all kind
it
of,
always has to be
yeah, so
pain
serious and
and
pain. Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
Yes. And
But
it
it's the
doesn't.
best, isn't it? It's like when you, yeah, when I'm sure you experience it too. Like you have like, you've got like fun. You've probably like built that
Yeah.
ecosystem around you where you have fun as much as humanly possible.
Yes. I do have moments though where I'm like, oh, like,
It's not always fun.
Yeah. Where I'm torturing myself. I'm like, okay,
Yes.
you have to make things cool, or you have to like make
Mm-hmm.
things like this or like
Yeah.
that, or you have to like get this much done or whatever. And it's not sustainable to torture ourselves
To be
in a
tortured
way.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have a really high barometer of how much you can be tortured? I think mine's pretty high.
I think mine's pretty
To
high
like
too. Yes.
to like torture myself in every kind of I
Yes.
think it's pretty high. And also there's certain things that that have just gotten easier as I've gotten older. I feel like things could like go wrong or fall apart, but I think when I was younger, like it used to be a lot harder to like read things about myself, or like that is difficult. I
Yeah.
feel like you don't experience this.
Oh,
I
I
like
have a
don't see any
hard.
Emma Chamberlain hate ever.
Oh, it is
Is it there?
so
But isn't
there.
it funny how like I
See,
would
but I've
never know
never
that?
seen hate about you once in my entire life.
Shut up.
No, I'm
But that's the
serious.
thing. This is what's so funny is like
We see it of ourselves.
I know, but that's the funny thing. I think about it all the time. It's like no one ever sees anything about you. You are the psycho that goes and like
and finds it.
and sees it, and it's on your thing, and obviously you're
Yeah.
in your own DMs with like people putting like some people just like send me like every picture that I put on Instagram, they'll like send it to me with like a poo emoji over the top, or like you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's relentless.
Super
It's been going for
creative.
like years,
Yeah.
or just with like like
Yeah.
so angry. But yeah, there's that, or it can, that's like I find that funny, but it can be more
Yeah.
insidious, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, I definitely found that. I did find it a lot harder when I was younger, because you're just like, and it's hard when like the worst things you think about yourself, you read all the time.
Well, it's when it's confirmed.
Oh,
When that's
that's
the
so
worst.
damaging. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah, so that's hard. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten. Do you feel like you've gotten a lot better at that? I feel like I kind of have a bit of a fortress now where I'm just like, maybe it's just like. Maybe I'm just kind of like numbed out.
I
Like,
go through
it's fine.
phases with
But
it.
if it's a new thing that like, or a certain way, that, no, it can always get you. But I think there's like a general like kind of wall that I've built.
You're building this wall slowly but surely.
Yes, exactly.
I do think too that like, the sort of like building a family, I think further builds that wall.
Yes.
Because you have now such a significant like life outside of your public image through having a family, that like it just
doesn't,
it naturally
it just doesn't, you just
this
don't care as
shit
much.
out here does not matter as much anymore. It just can't.
Yeah.
And that's something you
don't have the mental capacity for it. You're literally like, I need to go and like wipe some poo.
Exactly.
Like, I don't have it.
Exactly.
Like,
yes. I look forward to that.
Yes,
like that's
I can't
something
wait
that I
for it.
like.
Of course.
I really am I am excited for that day.
Just
'cause I think
having
it'll set
something
me
that's
free.
more important. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Having something that's more important. Yeah, it is. I actually feel so much happier having something that's more important than any of it.
Yes.
Any of it.
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter what happens if anything goes if anything's happening with my daughter. It's like it's actually
Number
really
one priority.
it's cool.
Sets you free in so many ways.
Yeah. Do you ever like, this sounds so dark, but I guess when I'm thinking about the memoirs, do you ever like think like what will I be like in like what will my life be like in my like 50s and my 60s?
Yes.
Like, it's weird, right?
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I'm not like afraid of it.
No.
Are you?
No. I always really want like longevity more than anything. Like I do want to be able to keep doing things.
Yes.
And keep creating things, and you're just like, oh, like I really hope that I keep getting to do that. But like, yeah, there's so much morphing and there's so much change that happens, and things that you want will change so much.
I think too that it also is like the only person that will stop you from creating more things, I guess, is you. I mean, there is sort of the industry of it all, but I do think that no, like you can make things forever. But I think we do fear like, well, what happens if will the opportunity go away? Does this go away?
Yeah.
But I actually don't think it ever does. I think it's more I think that you can always make stuff. And it might be for a different audience. but
Yeah,
it
exactly.
or whatever, but I think
It's
the opportunity
completely
is always
unknown,
there.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
so
It's
unknown.
unknown. And it's all and it's kind of it is about like how much yeah, it's like it's like the ambition. It's like how much you put into it. It's like I don't know. I kind of yeah, I guess I have that belief in myself that I will like I'll be able to ferret
Yes.
my way into like
Of
then
course.
and find like a space to be like fulfilled in something. But there's also like there's so many peaks and troughs, aren't there? There's moments of like
Mhm.
there's moments of like times where everything's like crazy and then yeah, and I guess like I sort of like know that from doing this for a long time
Yep.
that there are peaks and troughs,
Yeah.
that it's not all it doesn't just go like this.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like because I've been doing like especially like starting from like 15 or whatever,
Mhm.
you just know. You started super young. It's like
Mhm.
you're not gonna yeah, that it and actually that's I love that because I don't know, it almost feels scary to me to go so to go so
Having any
stratospheric. Yeah,
yes.
and then that because I think the more you go like this actually the scarier it becomes sometimes.
I agree.
Yeah.
When you I think, like, if you expect things to go straight path upward in anything in life at all, it will never happen. It'll never happen that way, and you'll always end up sort of either disappointed or overwhelmed or, like,
Yeah.
whatever. I think there's so much beauty in the ebbs and the flows
Exactly.
of career, of
Exactly.
love life,
Mhm.
of whatever it may be.
A massive breakup could literally will I think change the course of your life because it
100%.
like fuels you in such an amazing way as well. Like
Yeah.
so I feel like that's happened. I see that
Oh,
happening
yeah.
with like a lot of friends. Like it's like that can be once you get like out of that, you never know like what that fuel will do, or like ending a job or like something, a friendship or whatever it is. It's
Yep.
like it can fuel you, like give you like stratospheric like kind of um
It's true.
clearance, like yeah, everything. I think like the home life, the friends life, everything kind of like plays into each other. It's sort of like a pyramid. It
It
all
is.
kind of has to exist together
Yeah.
to
It is
work.
crazy how a breakup will really just it'll just
I'm always so
change
excited for
everything.
my friends when it happens. I'm like,
I know.
it's gonna
It's
be
like
so
you're about to,
amazing.
like,
Yeah.
just, like, I don't know, have a glow about you
Such a
again.
glow. You're
You're
gonna look
gonna like,
great.
there's always, like, the breakup well, see, sometimes I go through a breakup and I look so much better after, like, immediately, like, I
Yeah.
just, like, look
Fresh. Yeah.
fresh,
Yeah.
and then there's sometimes where I look horrible, so it depends. But it is true that like, the toughest moments always have a silver lining.
Mhm.
I've always long term been happy
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
the things have happened,
Exactly. You
you
can't
know?
have like I just don't think you can have like joy and clarity if you haven't had like a ton of shit happen to you. I really don't.
Totally.
Like it just is impossible.
I 100%.
Yeah.
And there is a lot from all those things, like, that's where we pull from to create things, like,
Yeah.
even the good stuff too, but also the bad stuff. Like,
Mhm.
if we didn't have dynamic experiences like that,
Mhm.
what would we pull from? We'd have
Mhm.
nothing to pull
Yeah,
from.
we wouldn't have anything.
What are you excited about creatively? Like, what are you most excited to do creatively in the next, say, 5 years? Something new? Lean into music even more? Like, what's in your heart?
I think I mean it's definitely making more music.
Yeah.
I feel like you like I was at this party the other day and Beck the musician was like you should make as much music as humanly possible right now because like you have the energy to do it, and like he's like
Totally.
everything that you do and at the beginning is usually what like stands the test of time. It's like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
kind of like what when you have that spurt and you have that energy around you. So it's like, yeah, if he's like be prolific, do as much as possible. So like, yeah, I'm like in the studio trying to make as much music as possible. Like already thinking about like another album
Yeah.
and because that's just like yeah, it's like it's so enjoyable, it's so fun, like I get to go on tour, I get to like I love and I love that as well, like I love I'm so in love with performing and doing shows
Yeah.
and like the ridiculous nature of like getting in a bus and like it's such a strange life, but
Yes.
I kind of just absolutely love it, like it's summer camp on wheels and it's like completely bizarre.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, doing like yeah, touring, making music. I would love to. I want to like be in. I want to do it like a movie again. I'm missing it actually. I'm missing it.
Yes.
I'm like, I really miss it. I'd love to go off and do a movie for a couple of months, I think.
It's nice that, you have so many different things that you love that you can go and dip your toe in over here. And then when you're getting kind of fatigued, go and dip your toe in over here. Like, I
Yeah,
think a
I
lot
think
of
everything
people
plays into each other in such a
totally.
way. It's like I know if like there might be a moment where it's like, oh, if I'm just in the studio and I haven't gone, like nothing will go, if I can go and sink into a movie for a couple of months, like it would be, I know it would, so much would come up. Like so much comes up when you're acting.
Yeah.
It's there's like so many people around. It's like this completely unique experience, where you just, you love everyone and you make something together, and it's like incredibly difficult and demanding and like joyful at the same time, and you're off, just you go and live somewhere else for
Yeah.
a long time. So yeah, like yeah, I feel like there's such a like bleed.
Mhm.
um and I guess like things don't feel as separate as I guess you would think,
Mhm.
in a way. Like it
Mhm.
all kind of feels somewhat, yeah. And yeah, and I guess like I don't know. I know people get like yeah. I feel like you can get burnt out doing something over and over again.
Totally.
So that's kind of like a nice thing. But it's, yeah, it's all like very unexpected because you literally have no idea if you're gonna like getting a part that you love
Yeah.
is like a hard, it doesn't just like fall down on you all the time. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, but I don't know. I went and did like a self-tape yesterday. I went and
So
auditioned for
fun.
something. It was fun.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. This
Yes.
was really
I
fun.
cannot wait to listen to the full album.
Oh, I can't
I'm
wait to.
so
Thank
excited.
you.
And
Thank you so much for having me.
2 Babies
Two
album,
babies.
you know what I mean? You kinda had twins this year.
Yeah, I did. I
It's amazing.
did. Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Ah, yay.
Yay.